Hey guys, welcome to this video, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my first ever game jam. This past week I participated in the GMTK 2020 Game Jam, and the theme for this game jam was Out of Control. And to fit this theme, I submitted my game, The Fire's Out of Control. Now before we delve deeper into the topic of making the game, I would recommend you guys go play my game. I'll put a link down in the description, and also go play some of the games that were submitted in the jams, because they're very cool. So now, let's get started. So when first making my game, I started brainstorming ideas that would fit the theme Out of Control. The first game that I thought of was a dog catcher game, where you're a dog catcher and you have to go get the dogs under control because they're just everywhere. Honestly, I did not like this idea very much, so I skipped it and tried a new idea. This one was a shopkeeper game, where you are a shopkeeper and then you have to try and keep your customers happy by going and grabbing stuff from the back. Only thing is that the machine that sorts all your goods has gone completely out of control. I wanted to call this game Out of Controllers. Get the pun? No? Well, it's okay. My third game, the one that really stuck with me, was a firefighter game. This game involved a little man running around with his fire extinguisher trying to keep the fire under control. Now, I really liked this idea, so I went ahead and opened up the Unity editor and started creating my game. When starting the game, I first opened a 2D game. Now, the first thing I did was make a procedurally generated map. This map just spawned tiles and then offsetted them in the direction that they needed to be. If you're not a coder, this basically just means you take a tile and you move it. Then you take another tile and then you move it again. So after doing that, I could easily generate any object that I wanted on the tiles. Therefore, I could generate trees, flowers, and just leave some squares blank. And now, thanks to this tile generation system, I could easily make the fires spawn. But before I put in the fires, I had to put in the player. I made a really simple top-down player controller, then I added a really satisfying fire extinguisher. If you haven't played the game, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But the fire extinguisher just shoots out foam from a fire point in the player. Now, this looked really good to me, and I moved on to the fire. So now the fire was kind of the hard part. Even though I generated tile map, and even though at the beginning of the scene, the fire generated on a chance to 1 in 10 on each tile, spreading the fire was still really hard for some reason. And after accomplishing that, I then moved on to making the fire move the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Now, basically what I just did is I took an empty object and moved it those directions, and then just made the fire follow one direction randomly. And as you progress through the game and the fire spreads, the wind direction also changes. After doing my mechanics, I really wanted to take a break from coding and therefore moved on to making pixel art. I made some really beautiful trees, and then everything went downhill from there. My plants look bad, and honestly, I'm not sure what to say about the play. After finishing my pixel art, I took a break, I went to sleep, and then on the second day of the jam, I started on something I long procrastinated on, and that is making the cottage. So in my game, the cottage is something that you need to protect. So there is the health of the cottage, and there's how the fire impacts the cottage. And this, for some reason, really scared me because I wasn't sure how the game mechanic would work and if I needed to scrap the idea entirely. But luckily, after implementing all of that, I then gave the game to playtest to my sister, who said the game was fun, but she also said it was a little bit triggering because it was super repetitive. So she got really bored and it really annoyed her for some reason. Thanks, Mugdha. So after getting that feedback from my sister, I started working on the UI to give some feedback to the player so they know what's happening in the game. I made some beautiful UI for the health of the house, the wind speed and the wind direction, and how many fires you've stopped today. Yay! Honestly, I cannot make the UI to save my life. And talking about not making anything to save my life, I can't make music to save my life. Next thing I worked on was the music. I use this application called Bosca Scioli. So basically, I use that software to make my music that you can hear in the game. After making the music, I also made a main menu, which was honestly a lot better than I thought it would be. Since I was rushed on time after that, I did not get to fix any more bugs, and I'm sorry if the movement gets buggy after a couple thousand fires stopped. And also, after I built my game, I was in a rush because I really had to leave. Even though there were 4 hours left to the jam, I wasn't going to return in that time. So after I built my game, I really needed to play it to see if it worked. But for some reason, it didn't work on my laptop. But taking some advice from my dad, I just uploaded what I had to itch.io and submitted the game. I later found out that the game does actually work on other people's PCs, but not on mine. So here's a clip of my amazing sister / playtester testing the game. And that, my friends, is a sneak peek of my game. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please go check out my game on itch.io. And if you're new to this channel, which you probably are because this is my first video, please do subscribe if you like it, and hit the bell button, and also don't forget to like this video. See you guys next time.